Hey, everybody, and welcome to the InfernoCast episode 046. I am Fox, host of the podcast and of YouTube's Inferno Fox gaming channel, where we are available on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more. And today, if you're watching us on YouTube, you can see it's a veritable Brady Bunch here because we have all 9 squares filled out, and we are celebrating our 1 year anniversary of the Inferno cast. And this is really crazy. Like, it's been 1 year that we've been doing these. And the idea came from the fact that Storm, Jason, Simbu, and myself, those three actually got me into Fork Knife. And during the course of our matches, we just kind of BS about video game topics and other things related to that, and made us think, well, we have fun talking about it. And I got this YouTube channel. Why don't we do a podcast, and let's do it on a widely distributable platform and hopefully make some money? Well, the money thing really hasn't happened yet, but we've had a lot of fun, and we hope you guys that have been watching and listening have too. And this anniversary specifically is on June 21st. That's when our podcast premiered, where we talked about the Sony and Xbox showcases. So we'll most likely have a future episode, maybe talking about general announcements, like down the line a little bit. But before we get into what we're going to talk about for this anniversary, excuse me, let me introduce not only our fantastic cast and crew, but a couple special guests here that are visiting to celebrate this special anniversary. We have Feral Inferno, of the YouTube channel of the same name, and you can check out his channel for fun live gameplays on Wednesday and Saturday evenings, as well as fun content like his Game of the Year series. So make sure that you check that out. And thanks again for joining us, Feral.
Hey, thanks for having me, and congrats on 1 year. It's an amazing milestone, and it's like it must feel really good. Hey, get that 1 year in finally, and it's all uphill from here, right?
Absolutely. And also, a special guest joining us is Red Bash Gaming of the YouTube channel of the same name, as well as founding member of the Super Retro Force, which comprises a group of excellent YouTube content creators. And Red's also got some live gameplay that he's been putting on, some podcast style interviews, and also fun content like his Underrated Gems series, as well as some really cool pickups. So make sure you check that as well. We're going to have links to everybody that you see here's various pages in the description below. And thank you again for joining us too, Rad.
Hey, thanks for having me. Always a good time when I get to come on the Inferno cast.
Yes. We also have Simbu Darkfang. He is the host of the Scurryface Wrestling Federation show, which is Sunday and Wednesday nights on Twitch. He's also a retired actor at Basement of the Dead. That again is Basement of the Dead, located in Aurora, Illinois. And Simbu is also hosting some ad hoc live streams, like for Fork Knife and Helldivers and everything. So make sure that you check out Scurryface. Again, link in the description below. Simbu, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, is this a good time to announce my retirement from the podcast? No.
You made it a year. You made it a year. So, and I see
No,
that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Simbu is celebrating the this particular occasion with his particular garment that he's wearing, right, Simbu?
Yeah, first shirt that I wore on the Inferno cast, so I figured, hey, why not? I'll throw it on again. It's just been washed. It's clean. It doesn't smell bad. So
Well, thankfully, even if it did, nobody has smell-o-vision yet.
Yeah. AI has
How do
not
you
gone
know?
that far.
I may have AI hijacked this video.
Uh-huh.
Well, wait, let's see your fingers. Let's see your fingers. Are they, do they look normal? Do they look, if they don't look good, let's have you eat some spaghetti. Could do the whole Will Smith eating
Yeah.
spaghetti thing.
There you go.
ChatGPT, generate a smell for this guy.
Oh my gosh. We also have joining us here Stormrosesky of the Twitch and YouTube channels of Stormrosesky. Storm, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here, and hopefully you'll be seeing more streams here soon.
And make sure you check out Storm's newest video where she lists her top 5 favorite video games. It was a lot of fun to see. Always like to see more content from Storm. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. And yeah, that was fun. I wanted to do a little bit better, but my just doing video editing on the laptop is a little challenging. But as soon as I have my other setup with another screen, it won't be as bad. But all the gameplay in those videos were done by myself, including the Pac-Man 99 that I won. And that was just one of the few handfuls that I won against 99 others. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah, and that was really cool to see. And you loved that game too. It was a lot of fun and really good to see you like kick my butt on something.
Yes,
Besides
finally.
Fortnite, of course.
Yes, after all these years, finally.
Oh my gosh. We also have Jason the 13th of the YouTube channel, Jason the 13th. Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Not a problem. Love to be here.
And we also have Astrimedes. He's the developer and co-owner of Second Place Games. Astrimedes, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me. Can't believe it's been a year. I feel
Right?
even older now.
We also have Jamie Owls 87, my partner and partner in crime, and you can catch her and I on our monthly series of games we are playing, which will usually premiere the first Sunday of the new month. Jamie Owls, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And last but not least, we have Hillbilly Hillslut. He is a good friend and good buddy of mine. Hillbilly Hardicus, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's always a fun time.
So one of the things that before we get into the topic, I'm going to embarrass a couple of our crew members here. Besides one episode for each of them, Simbu and Storm here have been on every single episode. Besides one for each, every single one. And for Simbu, that also includes the panel that he, Jamie Owls, Jason and I did about Until Dawn and the Quarry that aired like 5 months before our first Inferno Cast episode. So what I'm going to do is, as a special thanks to Simbu and Storm, they get one video game, any video game that they would like, with a few caveats. As I've learned, I got to be specific with Simbu. Got to make sure I lay down the rules, but make sure that I get right to the level. So I'm going to say, guys, it can be either digital or physical. It can be a game that isn't out yet. I can pre-order for you. It cannot be anything that is of the equivalent value. So no $70 of Roblox dollars or Fork Knife V-Bucks or a $70 gift card.
Oh, come on now. Robux is what I want.
Well, I'm leaving.
And more rules. No collector's editions, because I'm not Mr. Moneybags, and no discontinued games. So don't feel like you have to answer now. Think about what you want.
the extraterrestrial.
Ew.
No discontinued games. Sorry. It have to be something that's currently produced, currently in the shops, or something that I can pre-order for you. So you don't have to answer now. Think about it. Feel free to let me know on our own offline chat that we've got, but just take it as a sort of thank you for being here on nearly every single episode. I really appreciate you guys appearing and being you're being dedicated to the Inferno Cast. A little small thing that I'd like to do for you both. And just a huge thank you. And of course, a big thank you for everyone else, Jason, Jamie Owls, Hardicus, Astrimedes, and then obviously Farrell, Rad. We appreciate you guys being continual guests. So embarrassment over. Let you guys think about what you'd want, because we're going to jump right into our topic. As part of the 1-year anniversary celebration, this is kind of a cool wild card episode. Just kind of want to have a general topic of us talking about a couple different things. The first is what your absolute favorite video game memory is, and it could be an event or something specific in a game. Like I'll use a couple examples for myself, like in Final Fantasy VI with the Falcon rising up from the sea. It could even be something where you play the video game itself with friends and family, such as me beating Final Fantasy VI for the first time, being the first one in the family to beat an RPG on our own first before my brothers, or it could even be a time in your life that you associate with a particular video game or console. So like that time that Final Fantasy VI was out, I was in like what middle school or something like that. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that was a good time. So that's not gonna be my answer. So any one of those, and if you have more than one, feel free, but don't like maybe not more than like two. And then a second question is just remembering your favorite memory on the Inferno cast itself, like what you remember fondly. As I mentioned, kind of in the pre-show, was it the Game Award contest? Was it the Final Fantasy VII podcast where we had a couple guests that don't normally join in? And was it the discussion about the leopard printed underwear? Just kind of then. It's going to be a fun time, and we're really celebrating the 1 year that we've had, and really the future episodes that we've got coming, because we've got big stuff coming in the pipeline, more video game related stuff. So for you guys listening, we got more things coming. So I'm gonna start off by tasking Jason the 13th and see what Jason the 13th says is his absolute favorite video game memory.
Oh, absolute favorite. That's a rough one. There's a lot of favorite memories in my head. Yeah, the Halo nights, the Smash Brother nights, but some of my favorites is literally sitting at my dad's apartment when we were playing the Resident Evil games. That was the best because you got to the point where halfway through the original Resident Evils, any door, anything you walked through, you instantly were holding down the aim button to shoot at nothing because half the rooms had nothing. But that's how much they got you to jump in the original games. So that was one of my absolute favorites is the original Resident Evil games.
Nice. Now, are you sure it's not when you beat your brother Mobster at Smash Brothers and he gets so upset and then
He gets upset anytime he loses. That's not a special
Those are my
memory.
favorite times.
I was gonna say
Y'all
they're
should play
usually
Fortnite with them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Any favorite Inferno cast memory?
So nothing in particular, but so far looking back, I had probably the most fun in our desert island video. That was such a fun episode to watch, hearing what everyone would want to take the last just like 5 or 6 games, and that's all you can have for the rest of eternity. That was a fun episode.
That was cool. I like that. I also like Simbu's answers on that, where he was ingenious to where he could try.
Yep.
I couldn't say try. He would try and succeed to game the system
Every
and be able to get more
Yep,
games.
as many games on one disc as possible.
Smart man.
Right? Oh, too funny. Let's go a little out of order. Rad Bash.
Oh,
How
no.
about you? What is your absolute most favorite video game memory?
So mine would have to be a time in my life, actually. I was, I'm going to say 16. It was either 15 or 16. It was when my brother and I decided to get into YouTube. And we started by playing a lot of crappy horror games and recording it. So we would spend every weekend we would sit down in what we called our studio, which was a bedroom with a very hot lamp pointing at us and his computer on his lap hooked up to the TV. And I was terrible. We were terrible at it. But we would play all these really bad horror games. And I remember one, it was called One Late Night. And you're inside like an office building and there's like a demon thing hunting you. And he got so scared he launched his laptop off his lap. It hit the ceiling, broke the lamp, and everything just came crashing down. And like his PC was shattered, and it was just the funniest thing. One of my favorite gaming memories.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Have any of you guys had any sort of like, oh no, accidents like that all with video games?
Only close calls, but no actual big smashes or anything like that.
No,
It
no
wasn't an
wheels turned.
accident, but my little brother ended up messing up the cord of an NES controller when he tried to choke me with it after we were playing. I believe it was like WrestleMania or something.
It was a legitimate strategy.
You may have won the match, but you die now.
If I can't beat you on the TV.
Oh gosh, that's too funny. Any favorite Inferno cast memory, Red?
Well, so I've only been on one episode, so I'm gonna pick from the one episode I was on. And I would have to say, as lame as it sounds, I got to find a Simbu who I've become good friends with. We match in horror and things like that. But what was it? We were bouncing back and forth on Star Wars and educating each other. And I didn't think there was anybody who could match my Star Wars knowledge, so I didn't feel as weird after that. So yeah, that would be my favorite Inferno cast episode.
Nice. Excellent. And I'm really glad that we found another individual with a good horror background, because the horror game discussions aren't going to end. I do want to do a couple more of them, because we've got such a strong cast here that can lead that sort of discussion. Rad will make sure to keep you posted on that in particular. And plus, for me, I'm not a horror fan. I like to be kind of how Storm is when it comes to like the Final Fantasy podcast. Like, I like to be on the sidelines and watch and listen and learn. It's a good place to be at when I don't know something. It's good for me to shut the heck up and learn and listen.
I've gotten a lot
That's
more
fair.
into horror games as a result of the podcast, actually.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I'd be interested in future discussions on horror games. Any more excuses to dig through some weird indie horror games would be fun for me.
I want to play more horror games, so any recommendations, let me know.
I got you. I love horror.
I knew you would.
I've been told I have a face for horror. So horror is my thing. I love it. Yeah. Anytime you guys
I've
want me
seen
on
it.
horror, I'm there.
He's not wrong.
Speaking of horror, before I go to the next thing, Jamie Ells, you mentioned you sent me a trailer. What was that horror game that you shared with me that you were excited about?
Oh, it's Uno Momento.
It was the casting of Frank Stone.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I think that's the same makers of Until Dawn and the Quarry. So
Yep, and
it's in the works.
It's Dead by Daylight team up with them. It's in the Dead by Daylight universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Frank Stone is better known in Dead by Daylight as the Trapper.
Yep.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, so that's yet another horror game to talk about. And I just picked up on the State of Play sale for Jamie L's Evil Within, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, my heart is happy.
For $5.
Oh.
And the funny thing is, I also picked up another game by Tango Gameworks, Hi-Fi Rush, and I just started that again. So it's funny that the same makers of Evil Within did Hi-Fi Rush. Great games.
So what's funny about Evil Within, that I think it was at least 8 years ago when I played it, and at that time I finished it and I said to myself that I don't think I want to play it again because I didn't like some of the bosses that I had to fight.
Fair.
And then just recently I was just telling you, Inferno, that I really had a hankering of playing that again, and I really regret donating it. And so that was my lesson learned, that I'm not going to donate any more video games, because what if I do want to go back and play it again? And you downloaded it for me. And so.
Yeah. And it's a thing where you said 8 years ago, that's 8 years worth of games that you've been playing up to and including the entirety of the PS4 and PS5 Resident Evil selection. Yes. So that being said, you've got a heck of a lot more experience under your belt, and I don't think it's gonna trouble you as much as it did 8 years ago.
Hopefully not.
No.
Have you played the sequel?
Not yet. No.
Oh, it's so good. It's
Is
a
it
lot better than the first one in my opinion. It's really
really?
good. Really good.
You
Oh, I
know,
gotta check that out.
it's an older game. I can't remember if it's Xbox or 360, but The Condemned,
Ooh, 360. Yep. That's a good two
where
of them. Two of them.
yeah, that was a I didn't play the second one. I only played the first one, but that was a very interesting game. You know, the only thing you could really compare the like combat and stuff to would be like Fatal Frame.
Interesting. Fatal Frame. Yeah, that would be interesting how that would run. We'll have to look into that, Jamie Owls.
Mm-hmm.
But uh moving on to our next victim, I mean individual, let's hear from the mighty Astrimedes. What is your absolute favorite video game memory and or your favorite Inferno Cast memory?
So I'd say the game memory that probably sticks most in my mind. There's probably a couple, but the one I've kind of briefly mentioned on the podcast before, I had to do a little research to confirm this wasn't just a false memory and this was a real part of the game. I'm happy to say I seem to have remembered this correctly, which is a feat for me. But it was me and my brother. I was probably I'm not sure. I would say probably around 10 or so, maybe something like that. 10 or 11. So my brother, 2 years younger than me. And then our aunts, who were really only a couple of years older than us. So essentially, they were our cousins, basically, in terms of like family. So we would play games and stuff with our aunts a lot. But so me, my brother, and our two aunts we were taking turns playing Mega Man 2. And we'd gotten pretty far. This was also confirmed when I looked up. Apparently, so this is Mega Man 2. This is Wily Stage 1. The first boss is Mecha Dragon. And to get to this boss, you have to jump across all these ice blocks over a pit. And when you die, you have to start over and jump across again. The whole sequence of the boss fight is that you sort of jump across the blocks, the boss reveals himself, and then the boss chases you for a while, and then you actually can fight the boss. I don't think we ever got more than maybe two jumps into the chase scene before dying, because every time the boss would appear, one or more other people in attendance would scream, and the person playing would mess up and fall in the pit. And it happened over and over again. We spent literally all of our lives. That was probably the furthest we'd gotten in the game at that point, and there's no regrets because it was hilarious. So that's probably like the single kind of individual moment in time game memory I have. The other kind of very good gaming related memory I have is the time I actually used to spend with Inferno Fox in our Super Smash Melee training dojo. It felt like where I had played the first N64 Smash Brothers just a bit in college, usually while inebriated. And so I
Nice.
wasn't a pro at this point, but I knew kind of how the game worked. But then, me and Inferno started working together, started hanging out. So he introduces me to Smash Brothers Melee. It would have been Melee at the time, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Sounds like it.
But yeah, it was Melee. And he, as we've kind of referenced on the podcast before, he is very, very skilled in Smash Brothers Melee. But he's actually a good teacher too, but he likes beating you up while he's teaching you also. So, which is actually perfect for me because that's how I like to learn with a really rough teacher. So I remember first of all getting a lot better at the game, and also it meant like my skills in the game went in a very kind of spoiler direction rather than basically I couldn't beat him on like raw skill, so I tried to just improve skill. Like basically I got pretty good at dodging and stuff like that, and not so much at like blatantly killing him, but more like sneaky BS tactics. Like Samus, my favorite character, I like hopping around like a freak, dropping bombs everywhere and shooting missiles and basically just causing chaos and killing everyone I can while staying out of the fray, basically. So I definitely have really good memories from those days. In terms of Inferno Cast podcast memories, I would say probably two stand out. As I kind of mentioned a minute ago, The podcast we did on horror games is pretty interesting because prior to that, I had been saying I don't really play horror games. I think mostly they're very low quality, even though I'm a person that's always loved horror movies and horror aesthetic and all that kind of stuff. Yet, in preparation for the podcast, I was kind of looking over. First of all, I kind of realized I do actually like some horror games. Like I looked kind of in the past, I was thinking of things, and so like that podcast was interesting because it made me kind of realize I do like horror games. It's just you have to sit through a lot of the very lazy stuff to get to the good stuff. It feels like with more so than horror, maybe even than some other genres. But yeah, so and that's kind of that podcast was the impetus that made me purchase Inscription, which I loved. So Inscription is a game that it's a card game. It has very like or aesthetics, but it's basically like a card game slash escape room is almost how I would describe Inscription, with like kind of like an ARG on top. There's sort of like a running story outside the game you're seeing clips from as you play it. But yeah, and then the other podcast that I really liked was actually the one we just did about indie games, because of course the topic is near and dear to my heart, and I sort of like the excuse to have to put together kind of like a indie video game history. So I enjoy stuff like that. So I really liked that podcast in general, and I also really liked hearing you guys' kind of indie game plays because there's an interesting view into kinds of games I hadn't necessarily heard you guys talk about before. So I really liked that one.
Nice. Those are some really excellent selections. It was cool to hear, uh, yeah, what everybody's choices were for the indie games. Where like Storm was awesome, where she really gave a number of games in like the Nintendo Switch eShop a chance, and they ended up being some real bangers. So it was really cool to see like that, for example, or admittedly mine were a lot more mainstream, but that's just kind of the getting recommendations. I like to try the more mainstream ones before I dive into more of the murkier ones. That was pretty cool. I remember training you on Smash Melee, and I always enjoyed purposely bombing out on like 4-player fights. So you and again Jason's brother Mobster is the second best person at Smash. And when you say you're the spoiler, you spoiling and making Mobster lose or giving him a serious run for the money, and he can't say, because whenever Mobster plays Smash with Jason and I, he always complains, Jason, why are you always going after Fox? Why are you going after me? You should go after Fox. He's the best one.
Yep.
Without fail. So when I purposely bomb myself out, yeah, but poor Mobster can't say that. Again, sorry, Mobster. We love you. We just it's fun to see your reactions on Smash. So just the little predecessor note, but yeah, that was a lot of fun. And regarding Mega Man, it's not like there's anybody else here that would know Mega Man game.
No, certainly not multiple people probably that have made videos dedicated to it.
No, not at all. So
What's
Farrell, what are your thoughts about that?
That was going to be my question. What's Mega Man?
He hates Mega Man. Farrell's like anti-Mega Man. Haven't you seen his room? Hates it. Absolutely hates it. Him and Jason both.
Yep.
It's not like I have a whole month dedicated to Mega Man.
Yeah.
Farrell, do you remember your first time running into that frickin' giant dragon when you played 2?
Oh yeah, I remember somebody I was playing it with was saying like keep going, and we always kind of like messed with each other like yeah whatever, and then all of a sudden it was like raw, I was like whoa, and of course it like I maybe got 1 or 2 blocks and I was done. But it was such adrenaline though, hopping across those blocks, and then even then when you fight it and then it hits you one time and you fall off because there's like nowhere to really stand.
It's like a horror game section of Mega Man.
It was like my first jump scare in a video game.
Did anyone else keep jumping when the screen stops moving and you killed yourself because you kept going?
Yep, because you're trying to keep the pace.
And it stops so you can fight, but you keep going on the level. Yep.
Oh man. No, but it's still fun. Once you get past that, the game just gets even harder, and yeah, it's crazy.
We don't talk about the boo beam trap. We don't talk about that.
Yes, no, or running out of the crash power to destroy that. No, nope.
Yeah.
So let me ask Jamie Owls, what are your oh, Jason, what is it?
I was gonna say, you gonna kind of skip over Farrell there, or is he just
No,
assuming that is
no,
his favorite?
that was just a follow-up question to
Oh,
Astrimedes
okay,
segment.
okay. I thought you were going to
Farrell's getting a turn.
Farrell doesn't get to talk in this podcast.
That wouldn't be a bad idea. Like that'd be putting me in my place because I usually talk way too much. So
Yeah, Farrell just gets to sit there and look cute. That was very Super Troopers-esque.
There you go. But Jamie Owls, we want to know what your absolute favorite video game memory is, and if you've got a favorite InfernoCast moment.
I have a lot of good memories of video games. I know in previous podcasts I've talked about them, including, playing The Lion King and Super Mario World. But the one that really stood out to me the most, um, when you mentioned to talk about your favorite video game memory, the one that popped in my mind right away was when I was in 8th grade and I started to play Final Fantasy VIII for the first time. So it was that summer going into 8th grade. And that was my first Final Fantasy game. And just the storyline really moved me. And there were a lot of moments in the game that really like made me teary-eyed. And um the love interest between Renault and Squall. But I would say that was probably my favorite because that was the first time a game like really made me cry, especially towards the end after the post-credit scenes. And I don't know, it's just that was the one that really stood out to me the most. So that would probably be my favorite all-time video game memory that I express a lot of emotions with. As for the podcast, there's a lot that I enjoyed, but I probably would say their very, very first one with me, you, Simbu, and Jason at 13th when we're talking about Until Dawn and the Quarry, the two comparisons. And as you can tell, like I'm still shy on these podcasts, but that very first one, you could tell that I was talking so low, you can't even hear me because I was just, I don't, I'm just really shy and like talking in front of people. But I think over the year, I kind of gained a little bit more confidence, and I became more confident to show my live face. This is not AI, as we talked about earlier. I just have to
I
make
call
sure I clean
shenanigans.
myself up. What?
I call shenanigans. AI rules all. Don't lie,
Yep.
Jamie Owls.
She can show her hands, and you can see that they look normal. We'll get her some spaghetti too.
If this was
That pinky
AI, you would
finger
not see the
short.
wrinkles.
Hey, that pinky finger is shorter than the middle finger. That's clearly AI.
Or more like IA. No, those are good memories, and it was cool too because that was pre Inferno Cast, the panel that the four of us did, and definitely gonna have more stuff like that. And we talked about doing something with the Dark Pictures and anthology, and we ended up doing something I feel is a much greater product, which of course is this podcast. So moving on, let's ask Hardicus. Hardicus, what is your absolute favorite video game memory and the absolute favorite InfernoCast memory?
I've got two very quick ones for favorite moments, and I've mentioned one on this podcast before with Final Fantasy VI and Kefka essentially winning halfway through the game. It's just fantastic moment. I mean, I'll never forget that moment. The other one kind of goes back to what we were talking before we started recording with Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and being able to beat Inferno Fox wholeheartedly at a fighting game. is a fantastic moment as well, because I've gotten trounced so many times on Smash Brothers. But my real like big one is, it's more of a time period thing, and it may get a little eye rolls from the audience, but I'm a 20-year World of Warcraft veteran.
Nice.
I have met some absolutely
Thank
amazing
you for your
people in that
service.
game. I've met some absolutely amazing people in that game. I love interest in that, that has blossomed from that game. Some real long time friendships that I have flown across the country to meet some of these people. I have plans to meet even more in the future. Some of them that just don't live that far away, but the pandemic, I'm sorry, we're not supposed to use that word. The event that shall not be named kind of ruined initial meetings for that. So it just, that has been one of my favorite times with video games, is meeting some of those absolutely great people that you've gamed with for hundreds and hundreds of hours with. As far as the Inferno cast, really just being invited to be a part of this and talk with my friends and Simbu about video games is just it's just a great a great thing that I look forward to every time we do this. So I'm kidding, Simbu.
No,
Okay,
he's not.
Hey, it's all right. Everything needs a most hated, and I am the best at it.
Okay.
He's got a point. It's
This is true.
That's true. It's true.
No.
Every group needs a heel, so hey.
Very
Yep.
true. So yeah, those are my most favorite memories with gamings and with the podcast.
No, those are some good ones, and I will very happily lose to you at Marvel versus Capcom, especially when it comes out for the Switch and the PS4 or whatnot. Man, I would hate to spend like $130 or something on a physical copy for the 360, and then all of a sudden the game just get announced. I would hate for that. I would hate for that to happen. To like, wouldn't you guys like just?
I'd feel like such a fool.
I would feel the fool. Feel like a fool.
Hey, now quit trying to take my title as most hated. All right, you're not gonna win.
I've still got my Dreamcast copy in the basement, so I'm happy.
See, for the viewers and listeners, you can see even on YouTube, the dork who wears the mask, you can see the light in his eyes die as we remind him of his most recent acquisition of Marvel versus Capcom 2 for the 360. And we were talking before and just reminding him gently that it was a good acquisition because every video game is its own version. And if he was here with us, we would give him the pat on the back, be like, it's okay. It's okay. So Rad, this is for you, Rad. This is for you.
Can I just
I feel
say
so much better.
There.
For those of you who watch NCIS, I would give Rad the Gibbs across the back of the head.
I think I'd accept that. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. And yeah, it's I love that scene in Final Fantasy VI, and yeah, being able to meet people live. That's from the interwebs and everything. And obviously, I've met everybody here with the exception of Farrell and Rad. And obviously, the invitation comes to you guys. If you guys are in our area, in the Chicagoland area at all, give us a heads up. We'll paint the town red. Okay, really, we're gonna play video games at my place, but you guys are more than welcome to come meet up, hang out, do games, and with enough of a heads up, we'll see how many of us here on the cast that we can corral, and maybe we'll do a live one, a live in person one. So definitely very glad.
I think I'm busy that day.
Yes.
Hey, painting the town red, that means we got to play Maximum Carnage, right?
Yes, with the red cartridge.
Right.
So we're a little over halfway through our cast members. Let's hear from our resident Storm. Storm, I want to know your absolute favorite video game memory and your favorite Inferno cast memory as well. And feel free to have more than just one of each.
Okay. Well, one of my favorite video game memories is the first time I went to a treasure island on Animal Crossing
Mm.
because it was just amazing to see all of the items in the game scattered there and to see all the art pieces that you needed for your museum. It was like, whoa, the gates of heaven opened up and it was just a freaking game changer. Um, so that's just one little one. My second one, and it may be embarrassing to Mobster, but I could give two rats patooties. Um, Simbu and I were playing with Mobster on Fortnite. Mobster excused himself to go to the bathroom, except he forgot to mute himself, so we got to hear his stream. It was the funniest damn thing because, at
Told
least,
the naked gun.
yeah, at least we only heard pee, okay? We didn't hear any other sounds, but we're like, dude. And he said, "Oh, I thought I muted myself." No, no, you did not. So,
You didn't
It's a
also hear a
stream.
stream of complaints about everyone the way they were playing.
Well,
no,
he's
no, he would
playing.
he
Sorry,
would do
sir.
that. He would do that while he was still talking to us. He
Ah,
wouldn't
right.
do that,
That's on the
off
live mic
mic.
that he knew
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I was gonna say he's got to be playing the game to be complaining about the game.
Yeah, that is true.
Yes. Yeah. So in recent memories, that one that's not going to go anywhere. That is one of my favorites with him. Just oh my goodness. Oh, God love him. Other ones is maybe being able to beat Fox at one game, and that's one game of Smash because he let me on Nintendo 64, and I know he did because he was really, really nice about it. But you know. So my favorite moments on the podcast would be when we first had Farrell show up as a guest, and he mentioned listening to our show. It was like, oh my God, we kind of made it. And I'm air quoting that we made it because this is a stranger who is not one of us listening to how we did and actually like wants to come on the show. And then we had Brad Bash come on. It was like, oh my God, there's people who are actually want to be part of this with us. That's whoosh, mind blown, which makes me
Mhm.
feel all happy and humble that you want to listen to us rattle on. So I don't mind listening to us rattle on, but it's good that others are willing participants, and then you want to join again and be part of it, which is just amazing. So thank you.
Yeah, we didn't scare him off.
That right?
Hey, I'm working on it. All right, give me some time.
Despite Simbu, you're still here.
All bad things come to those who wait. All right, just give me some time, okay?
We haven't
Be
really
another
seen the
Helldivers 2
weird
stream and
yet.
Yep. And I've honestly just actually throughout the year have enjoyed hearing about games that I've not touched and not played. I'm a video gamer late in life. So like my backlog would be ginormous. So I just enjoy hearing the experiences that you guys have, and you have me looking out for other games that I want to play. And because of um, oh, Artemis, not Artemis, Aramis. Yeah, I wanted to call you your other name, but I didn't. I'm now making sure to look out at more indie developers as well. So,
Cool.
you
Then my
know,
job here is done.
yes, like yes. So, and I didn't realize how many indie games I had on my Switch, which was like, oh, so I like them a lot more than I thought I did.
Yeah, I was surprised. You came back with a lot of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great picks too.
Mhm.
Yep, and I still have quite a few. Like there's a Mexican train Domino's that I absolutely love. It's Domino's on the Switch, so it's all good. But yeah, that is about it. Some few definitely when we had Farrell on the first time, it's like, oh my God, we made it. We have a guest star. So there you go.
Nice. Yeah, definitely grateful to have our guests join us and uh, jump into the foray and more importantly, they willingly returning. So
Mhm.
that's a good sign. And but like Jamie Owl said, you really haven't seen the weird yet. Just wait, because it's coming.
I never got my paycheck for the first one. I assume I get paid this time, or what are we
You'll get the
talking?
residuals. The residuals.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wait, Rad,
you got paid?
Rad.
Oh, that's the
say,
problem.
Rad, your paycheck was me holding your hand in Helldivers.
Oh, that's what it was. Wow, I should get a refund because that was a terrible experience.
Before I go or let you go, let you have, control back. Another memory that I loved was winning the video game.
Yes.
When I got the number of guesses correct, and I forgot. It was it was related to something with one of the other directors.
Yeah, the Game
Wears a
Awards.
crown, pink dress.
Yep.
Yes. So that was it.
Nice. No, definitely good memories, good ones to share. And we definitely had a lot of fun with them. And she says that I let her beat me at Smash. She beat me. It was legitimate. She did. She beat me.
Just run off the stage.
I doubt I'd like to doubt it. You're awfully humble, but I appreciate it. That is what has been the best part of playing video games with Fox, is that you do teach. You are a good teacher. You don't get frustrated, and you are freaking awesome at them, and you're not an egomaniac about it. So I appreciate
I told
that for sure.
I told Mobster like a couple weeks ago that the reason that is selfish. It's inherently selfish, because if I can teach you guys, that means you guys will beat me, which is what I want, because if I'm going to get any better, I have to lose.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have the competition in order to improve. So if you're teaching us to be good competitors for you, that makes sense. So I'll take it.
And that's
we're all losers.
Yeah.
It's almost a legion of losers.
I will gladly be in this legion, let me tell you.
And hopefully
I'm better with my button smashing with you.
Yes.
And hopefully Rad's not like wanting to kill me for his reference to Legion of Losers, because he's looking. For those.
Wait, I got it. I knew it. I saw it. As soon as you said it, I was like, oh man.
I could tell by the look on his face.
Yep.
I love your shirt, Rad. I just noticed it. Oh my
thank
God.
you.
That is amazing.
I thought those were flowers.
I thought so too.
I did
first,
too, actually. Yeah.
They are. It's Mario and flowers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we weren't wrong.
You were correct.
Nice. So I'm going to ask our guest of honor to answer what his absolute favorite video game is. Our second guest of honor.
No, brother, it was already said. Don't stress it. Don't stress
it. Well, he's got to fix it because I'm the real guest of honor.
No, I'm fixing it because I feel like I'm just knocking poor Rad here with the reminder of the marble. And
it's all good. It's all good. This is the beat the heck out of Rad stream. It's all good. I'm good. I'm here for it.
The name is Rad Bash, right? So you got to get bashed.
Exactly. Yeah, there you go.
I was gonna say, is this the Bash the Rad gaming stream?
I think it might be subconscious or something. Sorry, Rad.
This is where I retire from YouTube. I'm done. It's out.
Look what you did.
You heard it here first.
Welcome to the club, Rad. That's the second retirement that's been announced tonight.
So we're going to ask our other guest of honor, our second guest of honor, the one guest that hasn't spoken yet. let me qualify this. So I continue to qualify this to make. Okay. So Farrell, want to know what your favorite video game memory is, as well as your favorite of the Inferno cast.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks again for having me on this. It is an honor to be on here, to be on your 1 year anniversary special. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, man. It's really great that you had me and Rad on here for this. Favorite. So I've got, as you know, from my channel and my time being with you and Rad and your channels, I've gone over a lot of my gaming memories. It's kind of what I do as a gaming memory. So I want to kind of give something different. And we recently talked about 1994 in a recent podcast. And, I've got my upcoming game of the year for 1994. And I didn't want to spoil anything for that. But I mean, this is a 1 year anniversary special. So, when in Rome, right? So, going back to 1994, a lot of kids growing up, the 16-bit era had the Super Nintendo or the Sega Genesis. I was a little bit of a different kid. I didn't have either one of those. I actually had the Panasonic 3DO, and I had the 3DO, and I remember the game I got in 1994 was a very special game, very profound game that changed me forever. Kind of maybe the gamer and the man that I am today. And that game is Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Plumbers don't wear ties. And, it taught me that plumbers can indeed wear ties and be professional on bikes. It taught me how to pick up women. It taught me how to be a great manager and how to actually lead. It also taught me how to negotiate as well in business. And without all those skills, I don't know if Feral Inferno would be the Feral Inferno you see here today without Plumbers Don't Wear Ties. Back in 1990, no, not really my game of the year of 1994. But
I just looked it up. That's an interesting one. It's Wikipedia describes it as an adult-oriented romantic comedy visual novel / dating sim.
Wow.
Well, it's an experience.
So in other words, Feral plays a lot of Leisure Suit Larry. Just
Simbu, I was thinking that.
I have that on the Switch. Leisure Suit Larry is available on the Switch.
Yeah, they did a special edition. I think they did a limited run release, like a physical and everything like that. So yeah, I had to give you get a little fun there. I wasn't really going to give away my 1994 game of the year. Come on now. As Rad and Inferno Fox, I keep things pretty close to the vest about those secrets. Keep some. I got my secrets. It's, the Triforce of Wisdom over here, but. But I want to keep this kind of a little bit to YouTube and a story I don't think I've really shared on YouTube. As this is a YouTube, show, and this is your 1-year anniversary. This is prior to me becoming a channel. I started following a channel I talk about a lot, but they are good friends. Complete Geek TV. We had a bunch of different shows. When they first started, and I came on very early on. I made fun of them for some Mega Man 2 gameplay. They had to eat some hot wings, and I was like, I got to confiscate your gamer card. And I was like, afterwards, I was like, man, that comment, it was probably like, it was meant to be fun, but I was like, oh, that could be taken the wrong way. And they totally joked around with me back. It was like, okay, these guys are cool. So we developed a really great friendship. And we talked about different games in the comments section and comic books. And Adam over there remembered one of the games we talked about. It was going back a while. And he's like, hey, man, I don't want to sound weird, but I want to send you something. Can you send me your address? Are you cool with that? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I sent him I was like, you don't have to do that. He's like, yeah, I want to do that. So he sent me something. And it came about maybe a week after my uncle had passed away. And he didn't know that. He didn't know that happened. I didn't say anything to anybody, because I wasn't on YouTube yet. And I usually keep those things pretty private. But it became a week later, we went to my aunt's house, and my cousin was having a birthday, and we were getting the whole family together to kind of get everyone back together. And I came home. My mom, we drove together, and I got home, and I opened my mailbox, and the package was there. I was like, oh yeah, this is the thing Complete Geek TV sent me. And he remembered we were talking about a game called Mischief Makers on the N64.
Good
and
game.
It was a game I talked about, I always wanted to own. I never had it. I only got to rent it. And then then you couldn't buy, N64 games anymore, and you couldn't find it in stores. It was only available for a short time. It was a fairly probably limited run game back in the day. But he sent me this. He remembered that from a comment that I made on his video. And there's a little bit of a catalyst of me thinking about man, this is great to build these types of friendships and communities here on YouTube. And a couple months later, it was a bad year for us. Back in 2021, my stepdad was dying of cancer, and he was in hospice. And it was his last day. We knew he had kind of gone to a coma. We knew this was going to be his final day. And they were running a contest that day. A little this fun thing with Smash Brothers, and hey, they were giving away Zelda Joy-Cons and all that stuff. And if they had 1,000 subscribers, they were going to give away a third set. And they did. During that stream, they hit their 1,000 mark. They were like, we're going to give away a third set. And, I needed a break from everything. So it gave me a chance to go sit in the car and just watch and hang out with some guys, while all that was going on. So it gave me that little bit of a break, which was really great in and itself. And so the first the first round goes by, like it's 8 people, you pick your fighters, like you get picked at random who gets to pick your fighters and all that. And so the first round goes, and I don't get selected. Second round goes, I don't get selected, and all of a sudden, like, hey, they hit 1,000 subscribers the third round. And then they're going through, and they get to the 8th fighter, and the wheel lands on, and they're like, oh, Inferno got it. And like they were like really like because we were friends, they were happy that I got on. They're like, yeah, you got awesome. We were so happy you got on there. And so we were picking an order of the characters we were going to choose in Smash. I'm like, oh, I'm going to go Pyra Mithra, and they got picked. And then I was like, oh, I'm going to go Ike because it's 8-player Smash, right? Ike's going to be the master to disaster. Ike got picked, and there was another character that got picked, and I was like, you know what? This is about Zelda. Let's go with Zelda. So I was like, all right, I'm going Princess Zelda. We're going with the princess. And the match is going on, and it's on. I think it was the new North Fair where the lava's coming in from the background. You got to hide in the little capsules. And this battle is like it was the most epic battle of all the battles of that night. And it's going back and forth. And like my Zelda character gets like a Triforce smash, and I eliminate a bunch of people with it. And I was like, oh wow, okay, because all the computer is controlling all the characters. It's not being controlled by the actual people. It was because it's all at random. And then it gets down to like Zelda and one other character. And I was like, oh man, I'm on the edge of my seat now. Like, and then I won at the very end of it, and it was like nice to have like a moment of like joy and fun in a day that was filled with such like sorrow and pain. And I messaged. My stepdad did pass away later that night, and I messaged Adam about it. What happened, and we had a great talk about that. And it's just crazy that like around these 2 events that he had no idea were going on. Just like it was kind of like it just happened. Like we connected with video games, and he was able to bring joy by getting these prizes, if you will, or gifts from a fellow YouTube friend. So yeah, really great memory, and something I haven't really shared on the channel, a little personal, but I figured this is a special event, so I'd share it here with you guys.
Very cool. No, yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And sorry to hear about your losses and everything like that. But it's really cool when you can connect with a lot of all these YouTube personalities, because besides the real big like 500,000, 1 million plus subscriber ones, we're all just real people, and we want to make connections with some cool people, not non-creepos or anything. Sorry, Simbu, but we just want to have a good dialogue with the audience, and we can build those types of connections and everything like that. So that was definitely a really good story, Farrell. Thank you for sharing that. Also, I appreciate your candor regarding plumbers don't wear ties. Sometimes it's those life
people
lessons.
need to know.
Yep, exactly. Those life lessons that you can learn that will influence how you're going to be the rest of your life. So, any favorite memory with the Inferno cast at all, Farrell?
This was tough. I was thinking there's a lot of good memories. I watched every single more listened really to every single episode, and I went back in time. So when I first started with the Inferno cast, I went back in time to the very first episode. There was a lot of moments where it was like moment with the Final Fantasy VI one where I was talking about, and I got really passionate like I do, and then I started blah, 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 as I always do, and I get long-winded. And then Storm was like, wow, I kind of want to play this game now. After hearing your passion about this game, that meant a lot to me. It was really cool talking about all the games of 1994 that I'm not going to be able to talk about on my Game of the Year video, because it was like, it to me was the greatest year in gaming. I can only pick one game. So it was cool to be able to opportunity, great timing too. Just that's coming up in July. So I was like, man, this is great that I can talk about these games, and now I don't feel as bad leaving all these games out. But I think what for me comes down to was how I found the Inferno cast and I found Inferno Fox himself. I was thinking of starting a podcast forever, and I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'm going to do this going into 2024. And it was like, I think it was in the fall, maybe late summer, and I was like, I typed in Inferno Cast in YouTube. Like, I'll make sure nobody has this name. I was going to call it the Inferno Cast. And then I type it in YouTube, and it comes up. Oh, hey, there's already Inferno cast. Like, well, I guess I'm gonna watch it. I was like, oh, and I saw the channel name. I was like, Inferno Fox, Feral Inferno. We're like, are we related? So I was like, that's pretty cool. So I listened to an episode of the Inferno cast. I was sitting actually right over here in the game room. I think I was playing a game or something, and I was like, oh, let's put this on and listen. And I was like, oh, these people are pretty cool. I like them, and so I subscribed, and we became friends, started talking, we just started collaborating, and started with our Mega Flare collaborations, and without like just randomly searching for that term, like what I have now have found you, and I found you guys, and be able to like have a great channel, great people to talk to, and found new friends. So when we talk about finding friends with Final Fantasy VI, right? One of the cool moments in that game. It's kind of like with YouTube, so you're finding friends, and it's funny how you find them. But yeah, that's how I found the Inferno cast was probably my favorite memory.
Nice. That's cool. Very cool. Yeah, and definitely glad that you've been able to join us, and that you found us searching for friends, and being able to connect with us, and future collaborations and guest spots and everything like that, because we've got a lot of stuff coming down the line, and yeah, it's definitely exciting. So that's been our 1 year anniversary. Oh wait, are we forgetting somebody? Oh, I didn't go. I didn't give my answers. So hey, remember, Simba, you said you wanted to be the heel. You said that you want no.
I was agreeing. You haven't given your your spiel yet. So
No,
I was just agreeing.
But we do want to know, Simbu, your absolute favorite video game memories, and your favorite Inferno cast memories, which these are really great. I'm going to be curious to see, because you are a literal regular contributor, all but one episode. And so you've been there in the thick of it, been there since the beginning. Shoot, my friend, what is your favorite video game memory?
Favorite video game memory. Not many of you, I know at least two of you would remember, may or may not remember this, but it was at Lyle Eyes to the Skies. It was before Smash Brothers, the original, released on the N64. Nintendo pulled up a N64 trailer to the Eyes to the Skies Fest, which featured 4 TVs, 4 N64s of with Smash Brothers on it. I was, just a younger little punk, and I happened to be there at the right time where they announced a small little tournament. It was just free to play kind of thing. They were going to do multiple ones throughout the weekend. I just happened to be there and was able to sign up. And I actually won it. I actually won the tournament. Unfortunately, though, it wasn't, I was like thinking, oh, wow, I'm going to get a release copy of Smash Bros. No, I got some little Nintendo stickers and a little Nintendo gift bag, little Nintendo grab baggy thing. But hey, it was cool because I was young, and I'm beating all these people who are like my age now.
Nice.
Like I walloped every single one of them with, of course, one of Jason 13's favorite all-time characters, Pikachu.
And it's funny you say that, because in Smash, Pikachu is not even close to my top character.
No, but he's an all-time favorite gaming character for you.
Now that, yes, Pokemon is in my top 5 franchises.
But yeah, that was kind of that's probably the one that really sticks out the most, most in my mind. The other one would be the amount of nights that when I was younger, after my grandmother bought me the Sega Genesis for Christmas, just the amount of nights that she babysat for me when my parents went out and did things. And then she would just sit there in her chair and watch me play games.
Oh,
she would
nice.
watch me play games. She would watch me, just sit and watch movies. And I mean, I used to sing a lot when I was a kid, and she would, a little personal bit, because Farrell got personal. I guess I'll get a little personal too. My grandma would sit there during like Lion King and Aladdin and Disney movies, and she would shut her mouth and not say a flipping word because she knew that if she said anything, I would stop singing. But I would sing along to all the movies. But she knew that if she said anything, she did, and I stopped, and I wouldn't do it again. So every time she wouldn't say anything because she wanted to hear me sing all the songs. Another, of course, obviously the best moment in video game history for me was Rad calling me daddy in Helldivers 2.
And that happened.
Never gonna get away from it.
It happened.
No, probably
Farrell was there. Farrell was there. I think Fox, I think you were there. Storm, I believe you were there in that stream and just watched him flounder around. Well, Big Daddy, the Big Daddy King of Snakes, went and took care of everything.
I was just diving around like a dolphin, like all over the map. That's all I was doing.
Oh, poor Rad. It literally is the Rad Bash show. So sorry, Rad.
It's in the name. I should just accept it.
Hey, you wanted me to be the bad guy. There's the bad guy. As far as actual Inferno cast memories, I don't know. That's extremely hard. I really want to. I'm gonna go before the Inferno cast was even a thing, and it was before Fox started actually playing Fortnite with us. Fox, it would be when you and I initially started talking about some kind of a weekly episodic gamecast kind of thing, and it took about 6-7 months for you to finally pull the trigger on it, I think.
Yeah,
and of course, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say it took us figuring how we were going to basically do this and realizing when we were playing Fortnite that there was a lot to talk about. It's like, okay, I think it's going to be a lot easier than what we think. And
right. Well, and again, like before you really started playing Fortnite with us, just the amount of conversations you and I would have, just back and forth over games, just in general, and that's where this whole Inferno cast thing kind of sparked in Fox's mind. There was from these conversations between from the conversation between him and I, and then of course the Fortnite gaming and stuff like that just kind of exploded it into give him the a little bit more of a kick in the furry tail to make it happen. And of course here, we're here a year and 7 months later and celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the show. Jesus.
Yeah, and that's really the big thing, is that we really decided to come together, and it was a thing where Simbu and I realized it's not just him and I. It literally is. It was Storm, Jason, Simbu, myself, when we realized between the four of us we have a lot to say about video games. And it's a thing where Jamie Owls also does, and Astrimedes does as well, and Hardicus is if my knowledge of video games, Hardicus is right up there with me. And just having these conversations and like Storm had said, oh my gosh, we're big enough to where we've got individuals listening and watching to our episodes. And that's how we've got Farrell and we've got Radbash joining us. And it's definitely been a fantastic journey. And this is not the end where, the whole thing where, oh, it's been a year, time to do another project. I'm motivated to continue keeping going and everything like that, and going with you guys, and definitely looking forward to further and future topics. So as we wrap things up, again, just huge thanks to everybody. I mean, we literally, if you're watching this on YouTube, it's the Brady Bunch. You got the all 9 of us here on our screens and everything like that.
And you're being stared at hardcore right now, Fox. Just saying.
Oh, I sure am. I surely am.
Is it Mega Man a better analogy with the 9 for the
Yeah, yeah.
being a video game?
It could be. It could be a better. I mean, although not Mega Man 1 because there's only the 7. So
And 7 and 8. 8 was weird. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
still kind of works a little bit. But again, just the huge shout out to everybody who joined us. Again, to our normal cast and crew, we've got links to everybody's sites in the description below, especially our special guests. That, of course, is Feral Inferno and the Rad Bash Gaming. Make sure you check out their YouTube channels as well as Rad Bash's Super Retro Force. Make sure you check out those fantastic YouTube content creators. Again, Simbu Darkfang's Scurry Face. Make sure you check out all the live streams that he's got. Storm's got her channel, Jason as well, and Astrimedes with his second place games. So again, huge thank you to you guys as well as you, the audience, and make sure that you check us out for lots more episodes. So thank you again and have a good one.